Hello, beautiful ones. It's lovely to connect with you here in this beautiful setting. We've journeyed here in Ojai and found a truly beautiful treasure, and delighted to have the opportunity to share this with you on this day that's celebrated as the Day of Love. It's an interesting topic given what's been happening in our country and what continues to unfold in our world. Sometimes that can feel quite absent in our world, and we wonder, where has it disappeared in the leaders of our world or of our country? And I'd have to say, in my experience, that it is in such challenging times where there's quite a bit of uprising that we experience love really at its fullest, at its steepest. It seems sometimes that the shadows of the dark forces of ill will can illuminate it, the forces of goodwill and the forces of love. And it's been pretty phenomenal to witness the rising of love-infused action in our country, in our world, with many individuals and many groups. And I would have to say, too, that much of what we're experiencing in our country has stirred quite a bit of fear in many of us individually or collectively, both related to what may occur for us on a personal level and as well as a level of our country and our world. It's been an interesting experience. I actually, as some of you may know, was born into a country that was in quite unrest for most of my life there, and for the years preceding my being born in Lebanon. I was actually born into a time of great unrest. They say one of the greatest wars of Lebanon. And as I am from that country, honestly, I never quite fully understood what was behind all of the unrest, other than your typical battle between powers or particular force that wants to dominate others. And it was definitely, in my experience, sad to witness the destruction of a beautiful country because of that power struggle between individuals. And I was very much born into and lived through many times of great fear that we would go through as a family and we would go through as a country, with the dangers that war actions can create. I remember many days of being shelled and having to take our belongings and move to another location. And it's been very interesting in witnessing what's occurring in our country, to experience that in so many ways there has been so many beautiful blessings that have come from this current administration. We've seen a rising of people saying we will not cower in fear, and we will not stand back and allow an individual that represents a community of thought to take away from us what we've all worked so hardly for, and to take away, basic human rights, and to take away decency, to take away a sense of community as a country, to create a sense of separation, to create a sense of hate, to create and instill a deep sense of fear. And in this rising of people, that is very much where the heart lies and where love lives. It's in that rising that we witness the force of love meeting and greeting this force of hatred and fear and separation. And that force of love, in its peaceful efforts, which many of our movements have been in the past few months, have enveloped this anger, this fear, this separation, this hate, and in bit by bit been dissolving it. And then, of course, other actions being taken place. And you may be listening to me and, you may have no challenge with what's occurring in the country. I would have to say that most of us have had some kind of response or reaction. And I know I've witnessed quite a few people that have, unconsciously felt spun by the occurrence and have been triggered into their own personal fears. I also know many, many people that have actually been activated as a result, which is one of the beautiful gifts of what is occurring in our world, which I've spoken with you all many times before, that those challenges that occur in ourselves, in our lives, in our world, can actually be incredible blessings, activating us into living more truth and catapulting us more into our lives, into our world, allowing us to step more fully into our Dharma. And very much this time in our country is supporting us in really facing those fears, both that are being perpetuated in our media and also in our personal landscape, to really face those places that we feel we cannot move forward in, and to really find that force of love that is within us and all around us to support us in developing a movement in our personal atmosphere, in our personal lives, to enable us to co-create and to move forward in alignment with our truth. And so I've witnessed, and it's beautiful to see how many, many, many individuals are no longer willing to stand back and live their lives in a kind of haze, which is one of the gifts, again, of these occurrences in our world. We're really taking this opportunity, and if you're not, I highly suggest that you take this as an opportunity to really reflect on, where in my life am I jailed by my own fear? Where in my life am I frozen in fear or in worry or in this sense of authority that keeps me from fully stepping forward in my life? And how can I bring forth my practice, that practice that is self-love, that is bringing in that great love into my everyday life, to give me that force to move forward and to co-create both a personal life and a global life that is in true alignment with my highest good and the good of others. And, on our journey just recently today, we were journeying up a canyon and came across this beautiful waterfall. It's so lovely. Those Los Angelines out there know, I'm sure, how I feel about witnessing beautiful water, emerging in our rivers and in our streams and waterfalls, and the beautiful lush green that has emerged as a result of our rain. It's another testament of when we think things are quite in their death and despair flow and that there's really no hope. Many people were really concerned about the drought in Los Angeles and what we would need to do both for water and for resources. And it's quite phenomenal to watch as the change has occurred here. I know much of it can be also related to the weather pattern that is occurring due to global warming. But even in that, when we can look at all the challenges that we've created, we've presented, or that have been presented to us, and hold that space and affirm that something positively, powerfully good will come from it, we are part of co-creating it. And so when we are faced with something that really scares us, which when we came to this waterfall, there was a climb up that we were contemplating, and I automatically felt my sense of fear of inclines that are pretty vertical, and my mind automatically goes to how will it be when I come back down. I noticed that fear, and with the grace of love within me, and also the grace of the presence of my partner Simon, I felt the encouragement to face that fear and to go past that fear and to climb on. And in sitting on the precipice of our climb, thinking about how am I going to get back down, that thought began to permeate my consciousness. And what came after that is I have the capacity to change that thought. And so I automatically began to think, all right, how about visualizing yourself moving down this cliff quite easily and effortlessly? And what about calling forth the love of this canyon, calling forth the support of this canyon, because everything is alive and is responding to us. And so when we create that collaborative communion, which is much of what I teach on my nature-based outings and sacred journeys when we journey to Maui, and we will be doing that also when we journey to Japan. When we create that harmonious co-creative communion and communication, all of nature responds. And so I began to move down that thought path versus the thought path of the worst fear. And automatically that began to shift for me. And I began to see myself at the bottom of the cliff in a sense of joy and victory and positive regard. But it also began to create in my awareness the reality that in those places where we feel tremendous fear and we isolate ourselves in that fear or in whatever challenge, we can so spiral down in that space, and we forget that love is ever present, that the love of a friend, that the love of a loved one, of a family member, that the love of our inner self, that the love of our inner guides, that the love of the environment around us, of nature around us, is always ever present and available to support us, wanting to support us. And we must reach out and take that first step. Very much the way that we're seeing that happen in our country and globally in our world. And, the reality is that there's much challenge ahead. In the same way that we experienced the drought here in California for 5 years, it was quite hard for many years. There may very well be several years ahead for us in this time of challenge in our country. And what we have in order to support us in that process is 1, each other, 2, our individual connections, and 3, our daily self-regard and practice, our daily self-connection, our daily practice. And so I heartily encourage you, especially in these times, to give yourself that self-love. And if you already have a really strong practice, and you're one of my listeners that's thinking, wow, here she goes again, I'm already practicing. So I encourage you to make it a little juicier, make it a little yummier, make it deeper, and create more of a sense of inner connection. And for those of you that are struggling, I encourage you to move past that fear of that daily connection. I encourage you to pull out your warrior and challenge yourself to this daily consistent connection, which will just enrich your life in countless ways. And let's begin with that now here as I'm nestled in this canyon overlooking this rich waterfall surrounded by these oak trees. Just taking a moment and taking a few cleansing breaths. Just allow yourself to rest deep in your being. Imagine yourself either right here in this very space I'm at or in the most pristine natural space you've been in, and as you inhale, just breathing that into your Hara, drinking that fully into your navel center, into that place that is the house of your chi, just drinking in that pristine earthly chi. And then as you exhale, circulating it into your tissues, muscles, and bones. And taking that a few more times, deeply inhaling, feeling yourself with that pristine earthly chi, exhaling it, circulating into your tissues, muscles, bones, skin. And then tuning into that heavenly chi, Reiki for those that are practitioners, just if you like, just connecting in with any of the Reiki symbols or just visualizing that flow of Reiki. And those that are not Reiki practitioners, just opening up that space, dissolving any separation between you and I and this space, and allowing Reiki to flow right where you are. So as you inhale, drinking in that pristine flow of chi that's not generated by anything that is human, that is that very intelligence that created your body. Drinking that in and filling up your Hara, and then exhaling, circulating into your tissues, muscles, bones, skin, and aura. And again, inhaling, breathing in that violet and golden light, that most delicious, palpable, fluffy flow of prana, filling up your Hara, and exhaling it, circulating into your tissues, muscles, bones, skin, and aura. And then feeling that as you inhale, that combining of the earthly chi and Reiki, filling up your Hara, and then exhaling, circulating into your tissues, muscles, bones, skin, and aura. Let it feed every cell, every molecule. And let yourself just soak in that presence. Imagine any area of blockage or fear in your life. And as you inhale, just breathing in that love of the earth, that love of Reiki, and let it encircle that fear or challenge or block. Or it just envelops it, just like a mother to a child, just cradling it, whatever fear, just cradling it, harnessing it. And just letting it be soothed in this presence. And then if there's any kind of desire or creative juice that you're wanting to manifest in the world, I want you to just breathe into that desire, into that vision, into that hope that you have in your heart. And again, let the support of the earth and let the support of Reiki just encircle it and give it life. But you can stay in this space for as long as you like. You can pause the podcast and return to it when you're complete. And just allowing yourself to just drink in this flow, Just allowing any fears or concerns to be just transformed, dissolved, or changed into positive self-regard and action. And let the juice of creative manifestation support you in bringing forth your creations, bringing forth your dharma, bringing forth your visions. And just as we rest here in our last few minutes, just open up to any inner guidance that you receive related to any of these that you present, whether it's a concern, a fear, or a worry, or a desire. Just open up to any higher inspiration from your truest self, from your inner guidance, or from that intelligence that manifested your very being, your very body. And again, you can rest in this space for as long as you like. Pause the podcast and return to it. I just invite you to record your experience, to record any inspiration that came through. Take a moment, place your hand on your Hara, place your hand on your heart. Just drinking in the sensations, the warmth, the love, the support, and the force of love that is stronger than any fear, any worry, any hate, any anger. It is very much the binding force that unifies all. And sometimes it takes patience, sometimes it takes self-compassion, sometimes it takes stillness, sometimes it takes dancing and artistry to really come in contact with that unifying force of love. And just take a moment here, make a commitment to yourself to carry through both in your self-care and in fulfilling this guidance that may have come through for you. And go ahead and take a full, deep inhale, just grounding that breath in your body, feeling that fullness within you, your connection to the earth, your connection to that flow of Reiki that brings everything back to its natural wholeness. That's simply what Reiki is. It is just natural wholeness, and bringing and realigning us to our natural truth, our natural wellness. I encourage you now to just wiggle your fingers and your toes. Taking any stretches that you'd like, and as you're ready, just allowing that inner spaciousness to meld with the outer space. And just taking a moment, recording your experience if you haven't already. And just allowing the unfolding to continue of your experience, of your journey here with me. And I encourage you to take your own journeys if you haven't already. Find some pristine natural space in your neighborhood, even if it's just a park, and spend some time in it. It's a beautiful place to connect with your inspiration, with your true self, with your connection to that higher intelligence. And as always, it's so delightful to connect with you all and share. I'd love to hear from you. I've heard from many of you about how you've really gained so much from these podcasts, and please do tell me. And I'd love to hear any inspirations that may have come through for you. And I look forward to connecting with you in person, whether it's through a phone session. I do coaching sessions, distant Reiki sessions, Reiki mentoring sessions, whatever lineage you may be coming from. I'll be teaching Reiki level 1 and 2 next month in March. Please look that up at sacredventures.com. If you're already attuned to Reiki with another teacher, it's always enriching to learn from other teachers. You only gain from more attunements and training. We are going to Japan, to the birthplace of Usui Reiki, in May. We are almost full up. We just have a few spaces left Our registration is now open for our Maui Sacred Journey. I highly encourage you to join us for that. It is quite divine. We'll be doing the Advanced and Master training there, and then I'll also be teaching a Reiki Level 1 for any newcomers, and at the Sacred Journey that will include a Reiki refresher for all levels. So we're right on this beautiful bay. It's quite pristine and delicious. And of course, I'm also available for one-on-one in-person sessions for those that are in the Los Angeles area. And it's just so divine to connect with you all, and wishing you such a delicious love month. Keep connecting to that force of love that is truly greater than any other force. It is the creative binding force. It is the force that binds all of creation. And so, sending that love your way. Sat Nam, Namaste, Reiki Aloha Love.